Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today I have a message about signs from your spirit guides. Never ignore the signs, because something so incredible will start happening in your life as soon as you start following them. So many people are starting to become aware of their guidance by the spirit guides from other dimensions, and I want to give you a few signs you should never ignore when it comes to that inner standing of what we feel to be right and what could we do to stand and walk in our truth. So spirit guides are points of consciousness in higher dimensions, which can manifest in different forms. Sometimes it can manifest in a form of a light being, sometimes it can manifest in a form of your loved ones that may pass to other realms, and sometimes they can manifest just in your thoughts or feelings or sensations and even emotions. But there are always signs that you may recognize in your life, that you are always connected to them, that you are always aligned with them, even though your beliefs may kind of disturb that connection, your emotions sometimes may disturb that connection, and the chaos in your life may disturb the connection. You are never disconnected, because you can't be disconnected from the source. We're all coming from the source. We're all an extension of the source. And between us here in the physical realm and that other point of consciousness as the unity consciousness, between these two spots, there's a realm of other dimensions. And in higher dimensions, there are beings. Some would call them angels, some would call them spirit guides or spirit helpers. Those beings are here to help you, guide you through your life, so you can see things more clearly, so you can widen up your perspective of life, so you can learn lessons faster, so you can ascend and evolve faster, and that you can become who you are meant to be in this life, so you can break the karmic cycles and actually start walking your path of the soul with the meaning you brought to this life. So the first sign you should never ignore is an insight that found you, it seems like out of nowhere, and it feels like a random thought, just that vibration of it is much, much higher. And as you become aware of that insight, it gives you goosebumps and that tingling sensation. If you feel like sometimes here and there you experience an insight, that's like a powerful thought that hit you out of nowhere. And as soon as you become aware of it, you receive goosebumps, you experience goosebumps, you experience that tingling sensation throughout your spine and in your body. This is a thought which was transmitted to you from your guides. And if you take actions with it, if you truly grab it, often it may help us if we write it down so we don't forget it. If you truly take action with it, something incredible will start happening, because your guides will notice that you've started to become more aware. You've started evolving on that conscious level, and you're becoming more aware of their messages. So as soon as you start to become more aware, you will start to receive more messages, and suddenly you will start experiencing more of that guidance. But another thing is, when you receive that kind of an insight, it sounds quite random or quite like nothing big, because often people have expectations that in order to communicate with your spirit guides, you should see light beings, beings of light, you should see angels with wings and all those other things. But those are, we have these expectations because of religious stories and because of stories from some people. Nothing wrong with that. But the first message is to never have expectations when it comes to your spiritual senses. Because you have your unique senses, and as soon as you hold within certain expectations how something should happen, you start blocking that spontaneous energy to move through you. Because once we hold certain expectations, we can't see what is spontaneous, right? So the point is that we learn to open our minds and open our hearts, and by starting to sense certain truly inspiring insights. I say inspiring insights because something which we would call an inspiring insight is an insight which awakens that high energy in the body. So if you anytime sense certain insight which awakens a lot of your energy, it may come from your spirit guides. And write it down, because often we forget it. Write it down. In the past, when I've started following these insights that I'm experiencing, I've noticed that they're actually leading me into the direction where I've started evolving spiritually so much faster. I've started to following the things that are truly bringing me more joy than ever before. I've started to notice what I actually want to do with my life. I became more creative. I've started to remember what I want to do with my life and who I am as a soul being. Like nothing mystical here, truly. Just I've started to remember that as a little kid I was always creative, but at some point I forgot about that aspect of myself. And at some point I've started remembering it because I've started following this truly inspiring insights. And that is the way that your spirit guides are often communicating with you and you don't even know it. So never ignore insights which may awaken a lot of that higher energy within your body. The second sign you should never ignore is receiving wisdom advice through a certain person you're communicating with. How often it happened to you that you're just communicating with your friend or your loved ones, maybe your parents, your whoever. You have that deep conversation and suddenly that person says something so wise that even that person can't fully comprehend from where it came, right? How often it happens. Just yesterday it happened when I was talking with my mother, and she started explaining certain concepts about fear where I've started just listening and I was like observing from where she's getting those thoughts, because it was so wise, so incredible. And then she was like, paused for a moment and thinking like, oh wait, that's so amazing. You know how often it happens that we receive a wisdom advice through a certain person we communicate with. That's, not often we take time to communicate with ourselves. So your spirit guides may often communicate with you through a person you communicate with, because it may be much more understood and much less mystical. The truth is that we are kind of afraid of mystical things, and at the same time we don't truly believe them. So it's much easier to understand something which feels kind of natural, right? And receiving a wisdom advice through a certain person is much more natural than seeing a light being, which would kind of disturb your perspective or perception of reality. So never ignore receiving an empowered wisdom advice which came to you through a certain person you communicate with. This is often so powerful. And again, usually we can't forget it because it's just something which again brings us a lot of that high energy. And often we may find the connection when something awakens a lot of that energy. We feel goosebumps, we feel energy traveling upwards through our spine. There's a deeper connection to that conversation, and that's where your spirit guides are communicating with you. The third sign you should never ignore is having this out of nowhere glimpses of, sometimes we have like glimpses of lyrics repeating in our mind. Like just a certain part of the song is repeating in our mind. And we pay more attention to it, and we recognize that there's actually a meaning in that repetition. There's actually a meaning. Should I become more aware of it? And sometimes it may be a certain part from the book. You know, we were reading a book, let's say you were reading a book in the morning, and there's just a short sentence repeating in your mind, or a short thought, or a quote repeating in your mind. And if you truly catch yourself at that moment, in that sensation, and you go into meditation, you may experience something truly powerful, like an insight. Again, nothing special, mystical, but an important insight, or important realization, or important moment of clarity that you need right at this moment. Because, you know, in the past, people thought that communicating with spirit guides and things like that, it's something really interesting, something fun. But as we're moving through such a transformative times, what I feel right now is that it needs to become so natural. All those topics about spirituality, about anything, all of that needs to become so natural that we start to talk about it like something completely natural. And that's why more and more people are starting to experience that spiritual awakening, connection with their spirit guides, and things like that. So never be afraid of those things, because it is something natural. Through the aging process, we forget about this because most people are not talking about it. But the truth is, most people feel those things but don't want to talk about it because they don't want to look like weirdos. And as we're moving through the evolution of consciousness, it is becoming more and more natural. And that's beautiful to me, because more and more people are opening up to that, and more people are talking about it. And that is a beautiful evolution. So my friends, never ignore a sign. When you're experiencing a repetition of a certain thought, of something from a certain song, maybe certain sentence from the book, because you know, in that field of different thoughts, your guides may catch that phrase of information, just the right structure of information in your mind, and they make it a bit more important, because you know, they don't want to interact with your free will. But that's how they can awaken a bit of your attention, to make a certain field of information a bit more important. Like just you know, checking a certain text we read, just making sure that we'll not forget it. So that's what is happening in your mind. They can interact with your mind, but they don't want to interact with your free will. So that's why that connection is so gentle that often we just miss it. So never ignore that. The fourth sign you should not ignore is the vivid dreams. When we're dreaming about loved ones, remember in the beginning I mentioned that they can manifest in the form of a loved one, because it's much easier to understand the meaning of that experience. So vivid dreams, when you're dreaming about your loved ones, or dreaming about people you should forgive, or even dreams of dying but not actually dying. You know, having a scary experience which ends up not scary at all. How often you had a dream where you were, where it felt like you're dying, like you're falling somewhere, and then you wake up somewhere else, and you experience like it's not so scary to die. Those are the dreams where your spirit guides are reminding you that fear is just an illusion. And then we are dreaming about our loved ones, which maybe passed to that other realm. And sometimes they have a message for us. Sometimes they have a hug for us, like a spiritual hug, and sometimes they just want to see us, or actually we need to see them to get that reassurance that they're always with us. If you're dreaming people, you need to forgive too. That's where your guides are reminding you that that energy is blocking your evolution, your transformation. And it's important to do something about it. So see what can you do about it. It's up on you, but truly pay attention, what can you do about it? Never ignore that sign. The fifth sign you should not ignore when it comes to your spirit guides is deep feeling to go somewhere or do something, like a spontaneous sensation, like an intuitive calling. You need to go into a certain spot in the nature, or you need to do something truly random right now. It feels random, but it's actually well organized from your higher self and maybe your guides. And what you truly need to pay attention to is where that feeling is calling you. Never ignore that, because you may come to that place and just randomly, again it feels randomly, you may meet a person which may become your best friend or your guide or your coach or your teacher. You know how often it happens like that? I want to share a quick story about it. When I had my first art exhibition, I was there, I had my exhibition, and one day a person came in, a guy and his girlfriend, they stepped in and they started looking these paintings, and I felt like something truly sparked his attention, especially his attention. And he was really deep, and his way of observing those paintings was, to me, really deep. He was really acknowledged about what he was seeing and really self-aware. And you know, later he taught me that he was really tired and he was in a hurry to go back home because his schedule was busy, and not at all he had a time to actually observe an art gallery, but he passed by and he couldn't resist to step in. So he stepped in, he started observing these paintings, and since then we are like really good friends. We're always meeting when we're dealing with something, and we're like complete opposites. Like I'm a intuitive person, creative person, open, and he's like completely logical. He was so close to intuition and to anything connected with spiritual evolution. And after that moment we met, we started, meeting up, we started opening, and we've recognized like there's deeper connection with our souls, because we're like perfect opposites. And that's how we may meet people which become our best friends, or people from whom we can learn so much. And those connections may happen just because we may sense that we need to do something, even though if on that conscious level we can't fully understand why. So that's where your spirit guides may interact with your attention a little bit and may help you to be aware of what you need right now, what you want to do, or what can be really helpful for you. So I'm so grateful for that connection, because we truly developed that beautiful relationship. We're helping each other when he's working on his projects, and he's helping me when I'm working on my projects. He's supporting me when it comes to my work, and I'm supporting him when it comes to his work. And that's something truly beautiful. Like, we have a great vision for the future for certain projects. And I'm grateful for this kind of connection, but I know that there was a divine intervention there, because it's hard to explain on conscious level how sometimes things just align. But at the same time, it is a beautiful manifestation that we are all connected, and just at the right time we meet the right people, and just at the right time we get to the right places, and just at the right time we experience exactly what we need to experience to evolve how we need to evolve. So this is also a reminder for you that wherever you are, whatever you are moving through, you need to move through it right now. And this is just a point of your evolution where those things needed to happen, and you just need to learn and to grow through those experiences. So don't be afraid of what is happening, rather learn to embrace the fear, and sooner you will see what's the lesson there, sooner it will be much easier for you to grow out of it, to overgrow it, and to manifest greater results, the results you actually wish to see. Because everything will find you at the right time, and the right time is something which is unknown. But truly, more we start paying attention to the signs, to the synchronicities, to what is actually happening, to the greater meaning, to bigger picture of our lives, more everything starts to make sense, and much easier it is to receive and experience the guidance that was always there. So my friends, I hope this video can help you to be a bit more in tune with yourself, to experience your guidance and what you feel you need to do right now. And I'm sending you lots of love, blessings and power. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting. And to everyone who needs some daily reminders, go and check out my Instagram page, AttractPassion, where I'm sharing daily messages, and my other Instagram page, I Draw My Passion, where you can find my art gallery. My friends, have a beautiful, magnificent day. Till next time, one love.